Welcome, dear brothers and sisters, to our channel. The life of an Orthodox Christian is inseparable from the veneration of icons and holy relics. Today we will talk about what holy relics are and why we honor them. First of all, it's important to say, we worship only the Lord, but we venerate the relics. This is an expression of our respect for the saint, for their ascetic life, and, most importantly, for our faith in their intercession before God on our behalf. The tradition of honoring relics stems from the Christian belief in the deification of man, which begins even here during earthly life. The body of a person filled with the Holy Spirit, after the soul departs, retains its sanctity. This was known even by people who lived before the birth of Christ. And in the New Testament times, Christians themselves became convinced by experience that the Holy Spirit could act even through objects that belonged to holy people. For example, the book of Acts tells us that when pieces of clothing belonging to the Apostle Paul were placed on the sick, their illnesses disappeared, and evil spirits left them. The entire history of the Church is filled with testimonies of the grace-filled action of the Holy Spirit through the often incorrupt relics of God's saints. But what are relics? What exactly is contained in the reliquaries we see on icons, in shrines and reliquary cases? In Greek, the word relics means remains. That is, whatever is left of the human body after death. Church history tells us that relics have always included not only the remains of the bodies of holy martyrs and great ascetics, but even just bones and sometimes even the ashes from their bodies. That is why, in Orthodox churches and monasteries, we can see both tiny particles of saints' relics and whole shrines containing their incorrupt bodies. Now let's consider, why do Orthodox Christians turn to holy relics for physical, spiritual, and prayerful help? What makes people travel far, sometimes even to other countries, to venerate the relics of God's saints and seek their assistance? The reason is that the grace that acted through the bodies of the saints during their lives continues to act through them after their repose. Relics become bearers of this grace. This is the very foundation of the veneration of relics. By the Holy Spirit and the righteous souls that once lived in those bodies, even the dust and bones of the saints retain their miraculous power. As we read in the Old Testament, a dead man who touched the bones of the prophet Elisha was revived and stood on his feet. This serves as a sign that even when the soul has departed, a special power remains in the body of the saints, for the sake of the righteous soul that dwelled there for many years. The holy ones who have fallen asleep, says Saint Ephraim the Syrian, act as if alive. They heal the sick and cast out demons, for the grace of the Holy Spirit always dwells in the holy relics. Saint John Chrysostom says, "Do not tell me about dust, do not show me the ashes and bones worn by time, but open the eyes of faith and see the divine power present in them." According to the Holy Fathers, reverent veneration of relics is the foundation of our prayers to the saints, who are always able to ask God, who has glorified them, to grant our requests and answer our prayers. In other words, dear brothers and sisters, we honor and receive grace not from dead bones and flesh, but from the power of God, of which God's chosen one is a vessel. The Lord created us with three parts: body, soul, and spirit. And in the saints, the body is no less holy than the soul and the spirit. As a result, through our prayers at the relics of a saint, this grace can help and support us.